Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about genetics and just the human body in general, which I definitely have the right to do so because of my knowledge about anatomy and my YouTube channel, of course. No, but honestly, there are rare times where you see something online that legitimately makes you so confused on how it's possible. Of course, someone reaching a certain limit, being so incredibly old, and in your mind you'd be seeing that they'd be at a hospital, hooked up to machines, barely keeping them alive. But no, you look up a picture of them and they seem fine. They look closer to 80 than their actual age of 120 or whatever. They look much younger, but they still do daily activities walking around, going to a park, going to a store, buying their own groceries. But then you see someone else compared to them that seem way younger, 70, which is not that young, but still quite old. But their quality of life and just health in general is so bad, it makes you wonder what's the difference between someone like that and someone who's a century old, where you feel 100% they would live way worse than either person, but objectively they're in a way better shape. And you're probably wondering why I'm bringing this up and why I seem so fixated on it. But the main reason is because today I was going through YouTube and I saw this one random post about some guy that's 110 years old, living in the US, called Vincent Dransfield. And from that age alone, 110, you would firmly believe he's that one Buddhist monk who's blind deaf, he has no idea what's going on, but he has one strand of muscle on his arm that lets him pat his daughter, or his great-great-granddaughter, I believe. But then you look at a picture of him and it looks like the most average 70-year-old that you'd see at the front of a house on a porch, just on a rocking chair, and that's someone that would be on life support for being that old. And I love that picture on the top right, 110 on the birthday cake. That has to be some experience, not for him, but his family that has to go out to a shop and buy them and put on the cake. And for some reason on this post they make a pretty big point on how he's a good driver, which I'm not sure if they mean objectively compared to someone who's 20, maybe, I'm not sure, or because by comparison of being that old he didn't crash a car in a 10-minute drive, so he's a decent driver by his standards. Which, should be fair, even having the strength in your legs to push a gas pedal, that'd be an achievement by itself, I have to admit. But anyways, God bless this guy because he wanted to give some tips on how to live a long, healthy life. If some 60-year-old guy wants you teach you on how to be healthy, you'd be 60 is not that hard, but 110, yeah, I feel somewhat that does give you the right to help people out. Even though personally, in my mind, I feel if he drives daily, that's always a 25% gamble that he might take his car out and then crash, and that'll be his last day ever. But anyhow, if you really want to know the tips that he gave on how to live a long life and maybe get you 110 like him, he says, doing what you love, drink milk, stay active, enjoy what you eat, and stay positive. As well as having his own quote, knowing people and love people makes me live longer. Which doesn't sound that bad, but at the same time, doesn't that sound like the kind of stuff you would hear at high school as a kid? Of course they don't teach you how to live over a century, but growing up as an adult they would teach you eat good stuff, eat 5 vegetables a day, or 5 fruits, sorry. Well, it's very mundane shit that's not meant to make you immortal, but more so to make sure your body growing up doesn't collapse totally by the time you're 25. And that reminds me of another story of some other guy in England that's similar to him at 111, but he looks like the most average guy you would see in any street, and he has a habit of eating fish and chips every week. And fish and chips, it's not a bad meal, but you feel something that greasy and trashy, just fast food, would just make your stomach erupt and break if you're that old. So once you have those 3 anecdotes of some guy that says you live healthy like him, you have to drive every day and drink milk, and then some other guy that eats the trashiest food ever but is still insanely old, that makes you realize so the only natural conclusion you could make to that on how they live that long is that they simply have just good genetics, that simply. It does sound nice to believe if you do stretches every day before you go to bed, or you take fish oil pills, dumb shit like that, it will make you live longer. But in once a while you'll see people these 2 guys, but they were born with such good health that life can throw whatever disease or accident they can throw at their body to ruin it, but yeah, they'll be fine after. Meanwhile, you have people in their 20s or 30s that work out every day, they have a ton of muscle mass, but even then while still being insanely healthy, or at least compared to the people, they still die of dumb shit a brain hemorrhage, or they get into an accident which is purely out of their control. Which yeah, that's bad. But then you have people that are just born with a really good immune system that they're not built, but internally they can handle the worst health issues imaginable, but they can walk out of it it was nothing, while also having the goal to say shit having a shot of whiskey every 2 days, it makes my joint feel good and strong and healthy. So yeah, bottom line, if you agree with me, you have to admit the only way to get into a situation which you live that old and not be in a hospital for your entire life. You should just simply, worship a god and pray to them every single day that you'll be that healthy. Like a 1 in a million chance that I guess you really want.